Hello, my name's Alan Foom, and today I'm going to talk about Denmark exiting oil production by 2050. Easy green points for something that's due to happen anyway. At the beginning of December 2020, the Danish government announced that it was phasing out oil production by 2050. This was obviously greeted with quite a lot of joy by environmentalists, and part of the deal was that no new exploration licenses would be granted, no new developments will be approved, and basically you would phase out production from existing fields when they deplete to the end of their tail life. Now, existing fields will produce until the end of field life. And only over 86% of ultimate reserves have already been produced historically, so it's not going to be that much left because you're at the tail end of field life, you're at the end of the production curve. And this policy does not apply to the self-governing Danish territories of Greenland and the Faroe Islands, which have home rule, although they're part of the Danish realm. A little bit about the history of Danish oil and gas. Now, oil was first discovered in the late 1960s, with first production in 1972. There's quite a lot of enhanced development in the 1980s when the fields were put on production, platforms built, pipelines built, etc. Rapid growth in the 1990s and early 2000s due to horizontal drilling and fracking of chalk reservoirs. Chalk is the main reservoir within Denmark. It's quite complicated, and they did some very clever and innovative things with horizontal drilling and fracking to unlock those reserves, which has led to a significant increase in production at the time. Now, production declined from 2005 due to natural depletion, and is now at a quarter of the peak that it was, and is scheduled to be about an eighth of the peak by 2040, which is when the fields are likely to start decommissioning. There have been no major discoveries since the year 2000. Last licensing round was not successful, and the yet-to-find potential is believed to be low. So there's not much in the way of future discoveries. This is a map of the Danish oil fields. Now, Denmark's oil and gas fields are located in the central Graben and part of the North Sea. So this is a picture of Denmark, so that's Jutland, that's Copenhagen here, and this is the extreme west of the Danish continental shelf, where you have the area of high potential within central Graben. Main reservoirs are Upper Cretaceous to early Paleocene chalks, about 67 million years old, roughly the time the dinosaurs died out. And these are the pipelines that are going to shore, and these are the main hubs. So key players were Dong and Maersk. Those are the key players that were leading the developments. Dong, the Danish Underground Consortium, was a consortium of multiple companies, and Maersk is the division of a large private Danish company, AP Moller. Now, a few years back, Dong sold out of all the oil and gas interests to INEOS, a British private company focusing on petrochemicals, and became Ørsted. And their company focused on wind, Ørsted. They've given up on hydrocarbons, they're moving into renewables, full scale, so they're the leader there. INEOS are meanwhile quite happily producing from these fields. A few years back as well, Maersk sold all of their E&P interests, all of their oil and gas production to Total, a French-based oil and gas major. So they're out of this game as well, although they do have an oilfield services division. So none of these fields are now owned by Danish capital. They're owned by foreign capital. There are also some foreign majors like Chevron and independent companies such as Hess, who are also part of the production Danish continental shelf. This is a production profile. So this is the rate of production of oil. Danes work in metrics, so that's 30, 20, 10 million cubic meters cubed per year, which I've translated for Anglophones into barrels of oil per day. So 470, 313, 156. This is a production profile. So initial pilot production, then growth, then peak, then decline, potential minor revival with some enhancements, which do not know if they will take place. And then this little purple area in here are prospective resources, which will be the bit that's affected by the new law. The green bit will continue being produced. So you're coming up towards late life, quite a long way past the peak, which is placed here on a table of reserves from main Danish oil fields. So Dan, Halfdan, Gorm, Skjold, South Arne, Tira. So the orange bits are the remaining reserves, and the blue bits are the already produced. So you can see here that everything here is way past the peak, although some do have some hydrocarbons to produce. Danish Energy Authority estimates that there are 428 million barrels remaining, with around 2740 million barrels produced to date. So 86% of the EUR has already been produced. There's another 350 million contingent resources, which may or may not be developed. It depends on economics and obviously the government consents. So we're in late life. Also putting it into context with other North Sea, the other two North Sea producers, which are Norway in red and the United Kingdom in blue, and Denmark's in yellow. So Denmark's the biggest oil producer in the EU27, but that's not really saying that much. Dwarfed by both Britain and Norway, and Denmark's oil production is about 0.1% of the global total. So relatively little. This is a chart that was posted by Graham Goffey on LinkedIn, for which I'm very grateful, and this shows countries with exploration bans. Now, Ireland, Portugal, France and Spain are countries that have effectively said we're not going to be doing any exploration or production on our territory anymore. But they aren't doing any anyway. They have limited potential. So you're giving up something you don't even do. Denmark's a little bit different because Denmark has been a significant producer. It's a lot less significant now, as we've just discussed, but it'll still produce what it's actually got. So it's not like they're switching off the lights now. They're basically going to switch off the lights as the lights naturally dim out. UK and Norway, two other significant producers, are going to be continuing to produce for a considerable time for the future. Although the UK has committed to net zero, the operative word here is the word net. So production of and use of hydrocarbons for things which we cannot avoid doing will be offset by other things. Quite how that will work is a subject for another day. And Norway will continue producing because Norway's oil is a massive revenue for them and makes the difference between their extreme affluence relative to just the very high affluence of their Nordic neighbours. So just to summarize, it's easy green points. Danish oil ban is something that's going to happen anyway, because all the fields were decommissioned by the 2040s when they reached the end of their natural lives. The 428 million barrels in reserves, which is actually going to be produced anyway, represents 5 days of global gas oil production. 5 days, that's all. And Danish oil production 2019, which is 101,000 barrels of oil a day, is similar to a mid-sized independent company such as Murphy Oil or Tullow. So that's roughly 0.1% of global oil production. And also, this doesn't apply to self-governing Greenland or the Faroe Islands, whose governments are both actively promoting hydrocarbon exploration because they do have significant hydrocarbon potential, particularly for Greenland. Hasn't been realized yet, but it could be there. So basically, Danish government has announced something that was going to happen anyway and has got a lot of green points for that. Thank you very much.